That's true.
Yes. So, since you are a science fiction author, Zoran Živković is a Serbian.
Oh, I know Zoran, yes.
What do you think about his work?
Well, he's certainly the most famous Serbian science fiction writer there has ever been.
Yes.
I mean, he's the only Serbian science fiction writer I know of with a genuinely international literary reputation. I mean, not only is he known, he's like much respected, actually.
Yes, I read that he wants to make his first thriller.
You know, Zoran is a multi-talented guy. You know, I've seen him work on the internet. I've seen him, publish his own books. He's had work out in short lengths, longer lengths. He's, won awards. He's had dramatic adaptations of his work. I mean, the guy's tireless. He's really got fire in the belly. He's not kidding around. He's the real deal.
Yes. So he can also get into Wired, for example, with his articles. I mean, he has that quality.
He's got a blog, or he's part of a blog, which is also run by a bunch of Texan science fiction writers, called No Fear of the Future. He was one of the founders of this blog, Zoran Živković. That's a pretty good weblog. Go up and look at No Fear of the Future. I mean, that's one of the best literary fantasy weblogs around. And you wouldn't think Zoran would be like doing this with like 4 guys from Texas. But, on the internet, there's nothing to stop you. Why not? Just go out and knock a hole in it.
Okay. My last question is, how do you like living in Belgrade, people in Belgrade? What is the difference between living in USA and Serbia among people behavior? Are there people more friendly in Serbia or USA, or tell us about?
Well, that's a very large topic. One that's difficult to go into in like the last question of an interview. But I would have to say, I've only been in and out of the city for 3 years, but it's become a second spiritual home for me.
Yes.
Really, it speaks to me on some deep personal level. And it's changed me a lot as a human being to sort of take part in my own, minor way in the life of this region.
Yes, it is nice. For example, internet is great because you live in Belgrade, and I see that you are quite active at your Beyond the Beyond blog. You write 2-3 times per day.
Yes, I do get a lot of work done here, and I find the environment very inspirational.
Yes, and I forgot to ask you one question. You and your friend Chris Anderson write that blog, and he defined something like long tail.
Yes,
can you define what is actually long tail?
Well, I think Chris does a pretty good job of that on his long tail blog. Chris happens to be the executive editor of Wired magazine, for whom I do a lot of work. I'm a blogger for Wired.com in San Francisco, and Chris, he's the boss of Wired, but he's also a former editor at The Economist, and he's very big on the new economy of the digital world. And his long tail theory really is about what difference the internet has made to the way goods are discovered and purchased and shipped and
distributed.
And distributed. And it's true that it has an economic effect. And if you're interested in economics, I think reading Chris Anderson is a very good idea. I think he's made a significant discovery there.
Yes. For example, Jason Calacanis also used that long tail term when he speaks about Mahalo. He also said that he wants to use that 10% of people who wants to find the real information, and the 90% to leave to Google to do the rest of it.
Well, it's become part of the common wisdom of the internet now, that there is such a thing as a long tail, and that you can do things like viral media, viral promotions. There are power law distributions, and bloggers have their own terms of art, and those are of great interest.
Yes.
I'm not a businessman myself.
Yes.
I mean, I'm a guy who writes fiction and the occasional tech article. But I know that business people and especially marketers take Chris's work very seriously.
Yes. And what is your favorite company and blog? Is this Google?
Yeah, well, I got that. I was at Google's Mountain View headquarters a while ago. That's my souvenir.
Marisa Mayer,
No, I got it at Mountain View in California. I mean, following Google is very interesting, and I'm very interested in Google Maps and Google Earth. I think they're a very innovative company, and they do some really remarkably peculiar stuff.
But Microsoft is also good at those mapping solutions.
Really the companies that I'm rooting for, the ones that I'm most interested in, are green energy companies.
Green energy.
Yeah, green energy companies that are moving away from forms of energy that cause the greenhouse effect and are wrecking the climate.
Yes, for example, you were also at DLD, and one of the main topics in DLD conference in Munich is CO2 emission.
Right.
Yes. So
well, if Google ceased to exist tomorrow, I mean, if Mountain View fell in the sea in a Californian earthquake, we'd get over it. But if we don't wean ourselves off of fossil fuels, there's going to be hell to pay.
Yes, but how is it? I mean, I was watching Beyond 2000 15 years ago, and they were talking about that effect of
yes, the greenhouse effect.
Greenhouse effect. But how it is possible that it is 2007, and so people are now more concerned about than ever? Why now?
Wait till 2017. The concern is very mild now. Next summer, when it's hotter, when there's less snow, when there's more drought, when there's more trouble, when malaria is moving north, insects are moving north, starting to see crop failures, it's going to get worse, and then the next year worse, and then the next year worse, and then the next year worse. And this is just a very obvious futurist prediction to make, because it's been happening steadily over the past 30 years. Okay?
Yes.
I mean, people who are aware of this have been aware of it for decades, and it's going to continue to come on for decades. It's not a vogue like Google. I mean, Google's a young company, they're 10 years old. Another 10 years they might be broken up in lawsuits, they might, their original owners might marry and have children and go away. An issue like climate change is a serious, deadly serious issue that's sort of right at the bottom. Root, soil, water, it's serious.
But the problem is that many people accuse the United States that they didn't sign the Kyoto Protocol.
Why is that a problem? It's an accurate accusation. I mean, it's the truth.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. I mean, yes, the U.S. is a major offender. So is China, so is India, so is everybody who's like burning natural gas from Russia, including Serbia. I mean, there's nobody exempt from this.
Yes.
We all use fossil fuels. I mean, this fan's being run on fossil fuels. So is that light, that thing, and the local internet.
Not this computer, though.
No.
This is run entirely on self-righteousness.
There we go, yeah. It's doable. It's not going to be cheap or easy, but I think we're gonna haul and scrabble our way out of that particular difficulty. That's just one I consider of great interest. I mean, it's not all ones and zeros and return keys.
Yes.
That's a geek way of looking at the world.
Yes.
You can't eat data.
Yes. Oh, yes, of course. Thanks a lot. Thanks
Sure.
a lot for this interview.
I enjoyed that.
I also enjoyed.
Always.